delegates, and welcome to APSE's Cemetery and Crematoria seminar for 2021. But I think because of the easing of restrictions and the advances being made on the vaccine programme, we can start to look forward a bit more at the innovations and the new ideas and the successes that people are having beyond coronavirus.
89%, as I said, feel that a lack of investment will catch up in the future. Fewer people think that grounds maintenance has suffered, but equally think volunteers can only do so much regarding grounds maintenance duties within cemeteries. So ongoing concerns about if we cut back in those type of things, then people will really start to notice. In terms of service growth, we asked you what areas did you see for service growth over the next 12 months. It's noticeable that the areas of growth are quite diverse. But those areas which have seen the biggest increases since 2019 are community engagement, new cemetery developments, capital projects, etc. On the converse of that, when we look at service decreases as opposed to 2020, when fewer respondents recorded that they expected to see reductions in maintenance and bedding displays, this is not the case in 2021. These are now the two main areas for service decrease that you think will happen. However, it should be noted that several respondents did say they were looking to introduce more sustainable planting regimes with increased naturalisation in the older parts of cemeteries, the bits where fewer visitors go to, really.
So this is inside the room where the services take place. You can see the unique geometric design of the ceiling, and through the windows to the left there you can perhaps just be able to see the reflection pool, which offers a lovely environment for mourners and visitors to gather their thoughts. So widening on where we are now, we're 12% above our forecast performance in year one, completed 550 cremations. You can see from the graph there the increase in winter. But a word of caution around that. When we've been doing our business modelling for future years, we had to identify how much of that increase was due to COVID, additional COVID deaths, and also we provided support for a neighbouring facility that had a fire, which meant their cremator couldn't operate for 2 or 3 weeks, I think, and so we helped them out with a number of their cremations, meaning we just had to be a bit careful when planning for the future around predicting numbers.
This next 20 minutes or so is digital transformation. We're going to offer you guys a pathway to a more efficient future that sees you guys working with less risk in what you guys do. No adverts, nothing of that sort, nothing about Plotbox itself. It's more around change management, looking at your options and how, when you decide that change is right for you guys, how to go about it. Identify the people who will be most affected by the proposed changes and get them invested in the project. They might be your employees, they could be your customers. You could be shareholders if you're a private organisation, suppliers, and so on, but definitely your local communities. Test your assumptions. Take anonymous polls and surveys. That's one way to do them. They're great, but as Plotbox, how does the old phrase go? No battle plan survives first contact with the enemy, and it's no different to cemeteries planning, implementations, and digital change projects.
The teams work alongside our own staff, and we've actually employed a number of staff who first sort of engaged with the service via the community payback teams in both permanent and seasonal roles. And again, it's given these people an opportunity and a chance. My key hope in this partnership, and why I'm so keen to see it a success, is that linking the church to the wider heritage project, we will hopefully see a drop in antisocial behaviour in the area. The local community will become more engaged with the site, and that will obviously lead to financial savings, because we're not having to constantly repair or clean up messes that have been left up there, particularly after the good weather.
Who is the Environmental Stewardship Group? Well, I'm pleased to say that the 4 organisations there are fairly well known to everybody at this event, I'm sure. And between us, we have over 350 years of experience with the sector. We talk about the climate emergency and everything else. So what is the issue? And I've just pulled out 3 definitions here for you. what is the climate emergency and what is global warming. But the one that seems to cause a bit of confusion is around net zero. And net zero refers to achieving a balance between the amount of greenhouse gas emissions that we produce and the amount we're able to remove from the atmosphere. So the way I look at it, it's like pulling the plug on a bath and saying, right, okay, I'm going to get to this particular level, which will be 20% of a full bath, and I'm going to adjust the water flow to keep that 20% level constant.
Moving on to some of the works that we've been doing then for a while. Clearly, some of these works have had to be suspended over the last year, unfortunately, but we are hoping to be able to get back on track with some of these as we move forward this year. One of the sites in the north of the city, known as Bulwar Cemetery, for the last few years, we've been working with local volunteers on a kind of biannual cleanup event, as it's been called. And that came about really, actually came about following on from some bad press we'd had regarding grass cutting and grass maintenance for various reasons, particularly with the conditions at that particular time. But it actually sparked a conversation with local people. Again, this is primarily at Highwood Cemetery now. We've got a dedicated Muslim burial area there. And in the very early days of the site opening, as we commenced the first burials, we began sort of communications with members of the community. And we've been working with them for several years now on all kinds of projects, from hedge planting. We've done some hedge laying works on site.
I would like to thank everybody who's been today, and just say, as Paul mentioned earlier today, I think the public, and certainly APSE has been seeing it, the commitment and the team spirit and the drive to sort of keep those services going while still being very empathetic towards mourners and the bereaved, but also looking at, you know, the broader things that bereavement services bring to other areas that we've seen from Martin and Dave today. Just shows that this is a very healthy industry and it's always open to new ideas and change. So I would like to thank everybody who's been providing those services in these difficult times.